So we're going to do some sums from the previous year's booklet, which contains a set of sums for the Bebras challenge. And we're going to solve these sums one by one, and we'll discuss the answer after we try and solve it. So for this first one, the question is, Pankaj wants to paint a coloring page, and he sets up one rule that two touching areas must not have the same color. And so what is the least number of colors that he needs to fulfill this role? So try solving this question first on your own and send the answers to me privately in chat. Then we'll discuss the answer.
Pranav, can you share this PDF in the group, beta?
Okay.
Yeah.
So once you're able to figure out the answer, send it to me privately in chat, and then we'll discuss the answer. Okay, so it seems like most of the people have gotten the answer of 3, which is the correct answer, but we'll see why. So if we look at all of these areas and we try to color them all, so then you can put different colors for different areas. But as it said, no two areas can have the same color. So what we have to see is the maximum number of shapes which are next to each other directly. So for example, in this case, we know we need two colors because there's two different separate areas. So you need two colors for this part. And if we look over here, there's three different shapes, three different areas coming in contact with each other, which means you would need three different colors. Because if any two of those had the same color, then two of them would be touching each other. So that's how we know that you need to have a minimum at least of three colors in each area for these three areas. And if we search around the rest of the shape, there is no part where four areas come next to each other at the same time, which is why the answer is which is why the answer is 3. Does anybody have a doubt? As you can see in the booklet, the answer is also given as 3, where you can see near the flower, the most number of colors intersect. So does everybody understand or anybody has any doubts? Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yeah, please respond. Is this okay, the solution, or he has to repeat it? Please respond either in yes or no, something.
Yes. Yes, it's clear.
Hi, Arnav.
Hi,
Hi,
Auntie.
ma'am.
Anyone else has questions? So
No,
then
ma'am.
we'll move to the next question then.
Okay, we'll go on to the next one then. So, this question, there are three different children. Each of them has a different symbol representing them. So, you can see over here, one of them is a square, one of them is a star, and one of them is a pentagon. So, the library makes a borrowing table to find out which book was the most popular. So, this is the table below. And within this table, you can see next to each book. So, for example, a caterpillar, there's a book about caterpillars and there's a book about snails. So, next to each book, it's written who has borrowed that book. So, for example, the caterpillar book was borrowed by the square child. So, the question is from this table, which book has been borrowed the most?
Uh,
Okay, so a lot of people have answered caterpillar or green caterpillar, which is correct. Because if you see the table and we count how many times each of them occurs, the green caterpillar is borrowed three times, the the snail is borrowed once, the butterfly is borrowed twice, and the ladybug is borrowed once. So from this, the we know that the caterpillar is borrowed the most because it's borrowed three times, and the other books are only borrowed once or twice. So the answer is the caterpillar. And so did everybody understand so far?
yes, sir.
Okay. All right, we move on to the next question. So there's a weaver named Leela which likes to make necklace out of beads. And to create a necklace, you can either add or remove a bead from either the left or the right side. So you can't add a bead in the middle. You have to either add a bead on this side, on the left or the right side, or remove one bead from that side. So if they want to insert this star bead into the center, what is the minimum number of beads they'll have to remove from any side?
Right side. Two bits. Right side. Two, two bits. Yes, sir. two, two bits, two bits, two bits, two, two bits.
Okay, so a lot of people have answered 4, which is the correct answer. And to look into this, we'll see that if you want to add a bead to a middle, we'll know that you can only remove or add beads from either side. So what will have to be done is remove all the beads from one side. So remove all the beads on either the left or the right side. Then put the required bead in the middle, or which would then become the left side, and then add back all the beads which you removed. So if we look at the left and the right side, we say there are 4 beads on the left side, but uh, uh, there are 6 beads on the right side. So it's a lot. If we go on the left side, we only have to remove 4 beads, and that's why 4 is the answer. Everybody understand so far?
Yes.
The correct answer is B, which is 4 beads. Does anybody have any doubts? So we'll move on to the next sum, which is a tortoise and a hare are trying to race against each other in a racetrack, which is shown here. So they both start from this tile on the very left, and they keep going wherever the arrows take. They go first towards the circle and then move clockwise. So they both start in that field, but they have different speeds. The tortoise moves 1 tile every minute, and the hare moves 2 tiles every minute. So the hare moves double the distance of the tortoise. And the question is, in which field will they both be there for the first time? So uh, after starting, which is the field on which both of them will land? That's the question. And message the answers in chat if you can. If anybody has any doubts, I can explain the question again. Okay. So let's start doing this sum now. And for this sum, what I'm going to do, I'll give a different color for each thing. So I'll give the rabbit a red color dot, and I'll give uh, the tortoise a yellow color dot. So let's say in the first minute where they both will go, the tortoise will move 1 square over there, and the hare will move 2 squares and land here. In the second minute, the The tortoise will move one more square and land here. And the hare will move one more square and land here. In the third minute, the hare again moves two squares and lands on the acorn tile. And the hare moves one square and lands on the the grass tile. In the third minute, in the next minute, the hare goes two steps further to the onion tile, and the tortoise goes one step forward till the watermelon tile. Uh, so in the next minute, what we'll see is the tortoise is in the acorn tile, and the hare is on the watermelon tile. Then the next minute, the the tortoise goes to the orange tile, and the hare also moves two tiles forward till it reaches the orange tile. That's why the answer is C, orange. Is everybody understanding this?
Yes, sir.
If you have any doubts, you can say them, and I'll explain the answer again. You can see here it's explained again. That is the first step. The first minute they both move to here. After 2 minutes, they move like this. 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and that's why they end up on the orange square. Yes. So if there are no doubts, we'll move on to the next sum. So in this question, there are six piles of like there's a pile of six clean shirts, and they have to be put into four drawers. So the way it's done, that the topmost one is taken and put into the top drawer. So this the first one goes in the first drawer. Then the next one of the pile goes into the next drawer, and the third one goes into the third drawer. And if it ever reaches the bottom drawer, again has to start from the top drawer. So the question is, uh, in which drawer will the last shirt go? Okay, so a lot of people have started answering, and now we'll go about the correct answer. So if you see here, there's six shirts and four drawers, and if you start putting them, you'll see the first shirt, this one, goes into the star drawer. The second shirt, the blue one, goes into the circle drawer. The third purple shirt goes into the square drawer. The fourth red shirt goes into the crescent moon shaped drawer. The orange shirt goes into the star shaped drawer again, because when you reach the bottom, you start from the top. And then when you take the blue shirt goes into the circle drawer. That's why the answer is circle, which is B. So does anybody have any doubts? Everybody understand so far the solution?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll go on to the next sum. The soccer ball itself. So this one is for higher difficulty because it's the next set of sums which are of higher difficulty. So there's a Beaver wants to make a football like this one on the top, and of these four materials in the options, which material should they use to be able to create a football of the exact same type? Okay. So does anybody want to explain their solution and how they got it?
Yeah, can I explain it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so we can start with the last option first. This one. If you go to see, the shapes of the black and white patches are the same. So on the ball, the black patch is a pentagon and the white patch is a hexagon. The the shapes are correct, but if you see on the main ball, each pentagon has five hexagons, and that's common for all the pentagons, but some of the hexagons are repeated. So one hexagon will be a part of multiple pentagons. But if you see in the last option, each pentagon has its own five hexagons. So that makes it so that there's too many hexagons and this cannot be the answer. Then let's go to option C. The black spots, which are the pentagons, are correct, but the white spots are triangles and not hexagons. So that means this cannot be the answer as well. Now we can check option B. We see that the black spots are not pentagons, they are hexagons, which is still different from the main ball. So that cannot be the answer as well. And then finally, we have option A. Black spots are correct. They are pentagons. White spots are hexagons. And they have perfectly enumerated the ones which are repeated. So like each pentagon doesn't have five hexagons. It does, but there's not seven hexagons. So that's the right answer.
Yeah. So a lot of people answered B, which was wrong. The correct answer is A because if you look at the shape structure of the pieces on the football, the black color pieces are pentagons, which are five-sided, and the white color pieces are hexagons, which are six-sided. So that's the difference between these two. And as an option B, the black is pentagon and so is white is also pentagon, which is why option B is wrong, which is what a lot of people answered. And option A is correct. So did everybody understand? Okay, so
Yes, sir.
I'll move on to the next sum now. Uh, so there's a person who is learning Varli painting, and with the help of some
Just
art.
1 second, Pranav.
Yeah.
Till now, all the questions were only for Aryabhatta. There are different categories here. Anyone is new to Bebras? All are have attended before. Is there
Ma'am, I
anyone?
am new.
Huh?
Ma'am, I am new.
You are new. Okay, there are 5 categories: Aryabhatta, Brahmaputra, Bhaskara, Mahavira, and Ramanujam. On that question paper, right? So Aryabhatta is the lowest age category, and Ramanujam is the highest age category. Okay, and these questions can be answered by anyone, either by Aryabhatta or Brahmaputra. Okay, C or A and B is written. So for this particular question, if an Aryabhatta candidate answers, he will get more marks, and if the Brahmaputra answers, he will get little less marks. Okay, category A questions are of 6 points, category B questions are of 9 points, and category C questions are of 12 points. So the present question which we are doing for Aryabhatta, it is B category. Means if a student from Aryabhatta answers that question correctly, they will get 9 marks. And if a student from Brahmaputra answers, he will get 6 marks. Okay, because Aryabhatta students it is B category question, and for Brahmaputra students it is A category question.
Okay, so in this question, a person is learning Varli painting, and with the help of some cards, she wants to create this painting. But she dropped the step-by-step instructions shown on the cards, which were these. These were the 6 cards, and their order has gotten jumbled up. So the question is to give the correct order in which these should be. Okay, so the answer is number 2 because uh, we have to go by the least progress to the most progress shown in the cards. So the first one is C because it has the first step where uh, only the head is there. Then next we have to go to E because the body is drawn. Then third, we go to B because they draw the hands. Then A because they draw the legs. Then F because the first part of the lollipop is drawn. And then D. So that's why it goes C, E, B, A, F, and D, which is why number 2 is the correct answer. Everybody understand so far?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And
Oh,
this question is supposed to be answered only by Aryabhatta and Brahmaputra age candidates. If Aryabhatta answers it correctly, then he will get 9 marks. If Brahmaputra, 6 marks. Other students of age, different age, Bhaskara, Mahavira, and Ramarjuna, need not answer this question. For the practice, it's okay that we'll try out all the sums, but when you are actually answering the exam, make sure you answer only your category students. Whether it is in A category, B category, C category, doesn't matter. You will get some marks, but you answer only for that particular age category.
okay. So
Okay.
now let's move on to the next question. A person is making burgers according to the following rules and ingredients. So over here are all the ingredients to be used in the burger, and there are four rules which have to be followed while making the burger. The sauce ingredient should always be right above the patty. So directly above it and nothing between the patty or the sauce. The second rule is that the patty and the cheese should be below the pickles, lettuce, and onions. We're not told about the order of the pickle, lettuce, onions, or the patty and the cheese. All they've said is that the patty and the cheese ingredient should always be below these three ingredients. The next is that the onions should not come in contact with the buns. And the last rule is that all the ingredients must be between the buns. So the we have to say the answer from which is the of the following, which burger is correctly made according to these rules. Would anybody like to try and solve this one?
Yeah, could I solve?
Can I solve it?
Yeah.
Sir.
Okay, Arnav, you can solve.
Okay. So there are four rules which have to be followed to make the burgers. Let's see A. In A, it's following rule number 1 and 2, but not 3, because the onions are in contact with the buns. So that one is incorrect. Then the second one, the second one, the patty is the lettuce is under the patty and the other ingredients. So it is not following rule number 2. So it is also cancelled. In C, the sauce is above the cheese, not above the patty. So it is not following rule number 1. So the correct answer that is left will be D. Thank you.
Yeah. So did everybody understand that the options A, B, and C are breaking the rules, with option A breaking rule number 3, option B breaking rule number B, rule number 2, and option C breaking rule number 1. That's why D is the correct answer, which does not break any rules. Does anybody have any doubts?
No, sir.
No.
Okay. So we'll move on to the next sum. So this next sum, there's a beaver who is trying to visit the grandmother. And there are several different routes and trails that they can follow to reach the grandmother. The question is, of these options, which is the correct answer to reach the grandmother? Okay, so I'll start solving this sum now. So we can check all these roots one by one to see which one would reach. And then you know that, and from there, if we go, you can see that option B, this tree cannot be reached from the start. So that's why option B is wrong. In option C, you can't reach the big tree from here. So that's why it's wrong. And in option D, although the trail is correct while going like this, it doesn't lead to the grandmother, but instead leads to the lake. That's why option D is wrong. And option A is correct. Because if we look at option A, you can see that it goes first to the bush like tree, then from there to the till here, and then here, and it goes to the big tree, then reaches the grandmother. That's why option A is the right answer. Another way you can see this is by looking at the last tree and seeing that only in option A does it actually end before the grandmother. And so there also you know that it has to be option A. Does anybody have any doubts?
No, Sai.
No, sir.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. So in this sum, uh, there's a crane which can build houses out of different building blocks. And it takes a block one by one in the given order, and it can put each block anywhere on the base or on top of another block. So for example, in this example over here, in this example, it's given these four blocks which are shown on the top, and then it has to place them on the platform. So it has to first place the block on the very left, then place the block after it, and the block after it, and then the block after it. So it can place them anywhere it wants, but it has to place them in that order. So the question is, uh, out of these options, out of these blocks in this order, which of these options is can't be built? So wait, I'll just put the order over here. Real quick. It goes base to triangle block to the colored square, and from there to the block with an X across it, and another one of that, and it ends with the triangle. So this is the sequence again, which I've drawn on this page. And what you have to see is from all these options, which one of them can't be built from this sequence. So you can ask me if there's any doubt with the question, and now try to solve it, and then we'll discuss the answer in a. Okay, so now I'll start solving it. So we can go option by option and see which one is possible or not. So we know it has to place them in this order, which is why if you look at A, it's possible because first it places this, second it places this, then third it places this, then fourth and fifth it places both of these, and ends with a code. That's why option A is possible, and so it's not the right answer because we're searching for which one is not possible to make. If you look at option B, again this one is possible because we start with the block, go to the triangle, put the colored square, and then put both the X boxes and then end with the triangle. So that's also correct. Then if we move on to the next one, if we move on to option D, again this one also is correct because you start with the base, do the triangle, do the colored square, put both these boxes and then the code. And that's why A, B, and C are all correct. And option D is the answer, which if you see, you start by putting the base, then you put the triangle in a box. But for this shape, the color box, you can't place it here because it'll be trying to float in the air. And you can't place a block on the air, and you can't place a block below an existing block. So that's why it's not possible to make C with this order, wherein they place the X box before putting the color box. Anybody have any doubts?
No, Sai.
Okay, then we'll move on to the next sum. So, in this sum, a pile of sticks has been dropped on the floor, and when they're being picked up, they have to be picked up from the top one to the bottommost one. So, in this above given example, when the sticks are dropped like this, the brown one has to be picked up first, then the white one, then the black one, because that's what's on top and what's below. So the question is, of these 6 sticks, what is the order in which they have to be picked up? Okay, so now we'll start solving this, and uh, let's try seeing this sticks in order. So if you look at this first stick over here, the gray stick which is dotted, the gray dotted stick, that stick is on the topmost one. So we have to pick it up. There's no stick above it, so that's how we know it's the topmost stick, and so that should be picked up first. So the answer can be either C or D. A and B are eliminated because they start with a different stick, but the gray stick which is dotted is the topmost. The next stick, if we look at it, is the white stick because it's below the gray dotted stick, but it's above everything else. So the second option should be the white stick, and so still it can be either C or D. So we'll move on to the next stick. The next stick has to be the black uh, stick, which is dotted white, because it's what's below the white stick while being above all the other sticks. So that's why you can see the answer is C, because D has the black stick next, which makes D wrong. Even if you continue further, you'll see that C is correct, because after this it picks up the brown stick, which is directly below, then the black stick, and then the white dotted stick.